Hello, this is David Lazowski from Regroup Media. I'm making this video because I believe that there is a lack of really high quality overviews on a number of fairly high level marketing tactics. Um, and I want to fill in the gaps by providing some more information about today, specifically offline conversion tracking um, for digital marketing. So I'm going to go over in this video what offline conversion tracking is, um, an example of how most businesses use it commonly, why it's important, who needs to listen to this, and then all of the steps you need to take from not knowing what it is to having it fully implemented for your business. So let's just hop right into it. What is offline conversion tracking? It is the process of capturing information about a prospect at an early touch point. So this might be from a lead, a browser session, or a brick and mortar transaction, but most commonly through the submission of a lead form. And then tying that initial touch point back into a final sale. So if that sounds confusing, let me give an example. Billy is a real estate agent that mostly sells houses. He runs Facebook ads, he hands out business cards, and he invests into an organic content strategy, and all this brings traffic to his website and leads. So when people sign up on his website to meet, so this is a calendar form to meet about selling their houses, the attribution data about where the prospect came from is stored on Billy's GA4 account, but not on Billy's CRM. So if he looks at his GA4, he can see that the conversion action lead form submit was done 20 times in this last week. But if you look in the CRM, you cannot see where that initial prospect came from. You have no idea if they were a Facebook lead or if they saw one of your YouTube videos and they decided to convert from that. Additionally, while Billy appreciates having lots of leads, not all leads are created equal. And there is no easy way to know which lead source is producing the best results. This is very common with businesses that are service businesses and not product businesses, where one source might have extremely high quality leads, even within the same platform. So Facebook groups might produce an extremely high quality flow of motivated buyers, whereas your organic Facebook posting might not. So it's very important to be able to distinguish between the two and then tie that initial touch point all the way back into possibly months, years down the line when you convert that prospect into a client. Now, when Billy makes a sale, he marks it in their CRM. The transaction value, he marks in his CRM the transaction value and updates the lead, but the attribution data is long gone. What we can do is add the attribution data automatically to each digital lead so that when Billy eventually updates the lead to mark a sale, he knows where it came from. The data can be reflected in his digital analytics tools, and his ad platforms can take advantage from that conversion data. So what does that mean? If you can tie back the initial touch point and the final touch point to the same user, you can mark all the way across your user journey to know which channels are the most valuable for top of funnel. So getting that initial first interaction with the client, getting a meeting, but then also at the back end, you know which clients from which channels actually convert. And if you are doing a service-based business at any sort of scale, this is definitely worth adding to your marketing analytics strategy. So why would somebody want to do this? The first reason is you need to collect attribution data and things like click IDs to feed your marketing platforms with information about when users convert at the end of your sales cycle. So just to go back to the real estate example, if Billy gets a lead with a prospect, gets a meeting with a prospect, most advertisers will mark that as a conversion. So Facebook will be optimizing for people who are willing to meet with meet with you, right? They'll fill out your lead form and they'll meet with you. And that's good, but the problem is you're optimizing for people that are very loose with their time and willing to meet. You're not optimizing for people who are willing to buy a house. But if you're able to tell Facebook that these are the list of people who booked a meeting from a Facebook ad and then went on to purchase a house, you're giving Facebook significantly better data with that they can now use to further optimize and bring you people who look like the people who actually bought a house with you. Hopefully that makes sense. The second reason why you should use this is to understand which marketing channels work best. It's not always clear which channels produce the highest quality leads. Your human team members can use attribution data to tell which marketing efforts they should double down on and which ones they should stop working on. And then the last one is you can use this to improve your digital analytics tools, really in the aid of making better decisions and making data-driven decisions on marketing performance. Okay, so who needs this? People with complex digital marketing strategies is the first one. If you don't really invest in digital marketing at all, it's probably not for you. If you're a very, very small business, there are probably other things that are worthwhile doing. However, if you're spending any sizable amount of money on either paid ads or other digital marketing, or you have a digital marketing team that you're paying, this is something that can really allow you to measure the efficacy of your marketing efforts. Now, how do we do this? How do we actually how do we capture where a person comes from, put that data about where the person comes from into your CRM, and then how do we now attach the final touch point back into your CRM, right? So how do we link those two? So this is an overview because I don't think this exists in another format. A lot of people have tutorials for like any one of these squares where it's like a very specific situation and solution, but this is a very broad overview, and I'm going to link this resource in the description below so that if anybody's reading this, you have this step-by-step overview, and then I will put in links to videos that can help you set up each one of these steps. Okay, so just going through it. The first step is you need to have a working CRM where you can store customer data. This can be something as simple as a Google Sheet, but I highly recommend that you set up a full customer CRM. That will make your life a lot easier, and it's probably worth investing to. But I will guess that if you're watching this video and this is actually something you want to build for your organization, that is something you probably already have. Next thing you want to do is make sure that you have UTM parameters and click IDs set up on whichever channels you are most keen to analyze results from. So If you're running paid ads, let's say Google Ads, you need to make sure that auto tagging is set up. That will give you a Google Click ID, and then that Google Click ID can later be fed back into its offline conversions to mark when somebody who came from Google can converted and then or like booked a meeting and then 2 months later made a final sale. And then UTMs are data about where the user came from in the first place. If you're using like a social channel, you can add a little appendage to the end of the link that says UTM source, so the person's source equals organic Facebook. And if you ever link on a Facebook post to your website, that information will be added to the click. There are multiple ways to build UTMs. You can use UTM builder tools. You can use link shorteners or redirects. It sort of depends on, there's trade-offs for all of them, but it depends what you like. Next thing you have to do is install Google Tag Manager. This is going to be the tool we're using to build all of the rest of the solution. After that, you need to set up a cookie with GTM to store the attribution information into. So when somebody comes onto your website, in your URL, you'll have your UTM information. The problem is if you click onto a different page, that UTM information will disappear. What we need to do is we set up a little cookie, which is a storage container, to take that initial URL appendage, the UTM information, and just store it for us temporarily. Now, there is a tool on Google Tag Manager called Persist Cookies. It's free to use, super easy to use, and there are a lot of tutorials online. I suggest you use that. There are also some complications when it comes to working across multiple domains. You might need to use a slightly modified strategy, which involves appending additional UTM information to each outbound link, and then creating another cookie on the second domain that you're working on. And on this resource, I'll try and keep it somewhat updated with other issues that people may encounter. But these are just some things that I've encountered and I've worked on before that are worth knowing. And again, I don't see a lot of information online, so it's pretty good to know. So once your UTM information is stored in a cookie, okay, it's just on your web browser. That data is there in storage, sort of in the background. You need to create a hidden form. So on your form builder, you have the options to create, obviously, the main input forms, your first name, last name, email, phone number, but you're also able to make hidden forms, and that's how we're going to pass the data from your cookie, little storage bin, into the form, and then from the form into your CRM. So hidden form fields are often something that form builders just allow you to do. If you don't see that option, you can use custom CSS, which is just a styling coding language, to make it invisible. So if your form builder has an option for add additional CSS, you can add a little script there, and I will try and attach the script you need to use to this document. If you have a developer, maybe talk to them, or somebody who's like somewhat technically inclined, they can help you. Or ChatGPT, it actually works really well for any of this like slightly complicated coding stuff that marketers might not necessarily understand. So now we have the hidden form and we have the cookie. Now we just have to combine them. So to combine them, you have to add a custom HTML tag on Google Tag Manager to the page where you want to insert the form into. And all that does is it finds the ID of the form field, and then it takes the variable, which is your cookie, and then it pushes them together, and now that form field is hidden from the end user, but it is that value is now your cookie. So when somebody submits the form, all of their information gets submitted, as well as your hidden attribution information. Very good. Last thing you have to do is link the form to your CRM, which most people can do with Zapier. And then finally, if you're using paid ads, you now take that UTM information or you now take the CRM data and set it as an offline conversion. So these steps are actually a little bit separated. What more likely this looks like is that the user's first touch point might be Facebook here, and they'll have that offline data here. And now when the person goes through their sales cycle, the sales calls, they have their service performed, and they close, you can now mark the lead, which you've captured here, attached to their attribution data. You now mark it as closed or won, and you can add an account value to that. And then when you mark it closed, because it's linked because it's linked as an offline conversion here, that data will pass back to Google or Facebook, and you'll be able to train the algorithm there. Or just on your analytics tools or in your CRM dashboard, you'll be able to see which attribution sources accounted for the greatest transaction value. Now that was the overview. I hope it was helpful. I'll try and keep this somewhat updated with other problems I find, and then links to videos and helpful resources as well. Please let me know if there's anything I missed out on, or if there are any problems that you've encountered that might be useful to add as a note for future troubleshooting. Yeah, I appreciate all watching. Leave a comment if this helped you out, and like the video and subscribe for more marketing content stuff. Thanks.